Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, the one and only hosting Cruz, bringing you another exciting edition of boxing. Don't forget to hit and to like, subscribe to my channel. It's always greatly appreciated. Stay tuned. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I am your host, hosting Cruz, and ladies and gentlemen, it is official. We have two tremendous fighters officially going into the Hall of Fame in Castanota, New York. Canastota, New York, I believe, is around June. I think the Hall of Fame is usually around June. Correct me if I'm wrong, but last I checked, I think it was around June. They usually say June. So the headliners, ladies and gentlemen, in 2026 will be Gennady Golovkin, Triple G, and Vernon Forrest. I think I'm missing someone else here, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, Steve Collins. Not too familiar really with Steve Collins, but of course, we all are familiar really with Gennady Golovkin and Vernon Forrest. You know, Gennady Golovkin, as we all know, was in his prime one of the most scariest fighters. So we're putting on a pair of gloves. I mean, and it's kind of weird, and it's kind of weird because Triple G, he was one of the most scariest, meanest fighters when that bell rang, but one of the nice persons you ever meet. Always with a smile. You know, fight. I look for fight. Big drama show. Cool cat. But when that bell rings, Triple G always meant business. Triple G, ladies and gentlemen, 42 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw, 37 big, thunderous, destructive KOs. Multiple weight middleweight champion of the world, 2-time unified middleweight champion of the world. From 2008, ladies and gentlemen, listen to this, from 2008 all the way up to 2016, Triple G has been scoring knockouts in a row. From 2008 to 2016, Triple G has compiled a record of 23-0 with 23 KOs. Yeah, because at some time they said it. They used to always say in commentary, Triple G is in a 20 plus fight win streak, all by knockout. He had a KO streak going, one of the best KO streaks in boxing history and in middleweight history. And on top of that, Triple G, besides being a vicious puncher and very exciting fighter, he had one of the best chins in the sport. Putting it up there with Marvin Hagler, and just one of the best chins. You know, when you talk about best chins, you got to put Marvin Hagler up there. I think Marvin Hagler had the best chin. So Triple G's chin, and you know, Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., you know, Triple G's chin is up there. You know, I've never seen Triple G rocked, buckled, dropped. Very strong legs, nice balance. Not the fastest fighter, but when he gets to you and hits you, man, it's like a freaking... He had bricks in his hands, man. Excellent left hook to the body. Asked Matthew Macklin about that. Who grimaced in pain on his way down, man. Like, that was it. Asked Curtis Stevens how that power felt. Kazakh Thunder. The facial expression that Curtis Stevens put on. Like, whoo! I'll never forget it back on HBO days. And busting up Gabe Rosado. Scary fight where Gabe Rosado could have died in that freaking ring. Even the trainer was like, man, your son is going to die. You know, that was Gabe Rosado's trainer telling his dad, Gabe's dad, that, man, your son is going to die if I don't stop this. It was just, Triple G was a fucking monster, man. And when he bumped into Canelo Alvarez, as we all know, we all thought he won the first fight. You know, second fight could have gone either way, but I give it to Canelo. Canelo, I felt he pushed the pace. He came with a more aggressive approach, and he took it to Triple G. Got the better of every exchange. Majority of them. Canelo deserved it. And the third fight, I always felt that Triple G came for a check. He didn't really came to win. And that was the last time we saw him back in 2022. Who is actually looking to make a comeback, next year at 43 years old, might be 44, I forget his name, I forget when his birthday is, but right now he's 43 and he's thinking of a comeback. So, let's see. I'm looking forward to it, honestly. Just to see how much Triple G has left in the tank. But his name is cemented in history in the Hall of Fame. When a boxer goes into the Hall of Fame, man, it's like when a boxer competes in the Olympics and they able to go all the way to the finals and compete for the gold medal and actually win the gold medal. You always hear it out of their mouths. It's the best thing they have ever experienced and accomplished in their boxing careers, besides winning world titles and all that stuff. But Hall of Fame in professional boxing, there's no Hall of Fame in amateur boxing. But Hall of Fame is the pinnacle of professional boxing. When you compete in professional boxing, one of the main goals is to win a world title, of course, because when you win a world title, you get more money, your pay increases, and you're in bigger stages and all that. Your life changes. That's the goal. You bust your ass to make money, to win belts, and to have a successful boxing career. But to reach and get to the Hall of Fame is the cream of the crop. All the world titles are all good and dandy, but the Hall of Fame, to have Hall of Fame to your resume, man, is the peak, the pinnacle of your professional boxing career. Because there's so many tremendous fighters that have never even reached the Hall of Fame yet, and not much fighters, like I just said, in other words, can say that they're in the Hall of Fame. So for Triple G to go into the Hall of Fame, well deservedly, man. Like I said, one of the most vicious punchers, best chins, one of the greatest middleweights of all time, 23-0, 23 knockout streak from 2008 2016 is just incredible. And he deserves it, man. Deserves it. So congratulations to Triple G, man. Gennady, Golovkin, big drama show is in the Hall of Fame, and he'll forever be etched in history. Another great fighter, now Hall of Famer, is Vernon the Viper Forrest, ladies and gentlemen. Vernon the Viper Forrest, 41 wins, 3 losses, and 1 draw, 1 no contest, 29 KOs. 4-time world champion, 2-division champion. The WBC, the IBF, and Ring Magazine, and lineal welterweight titles he's held. Forrest began boxing at age 9, compiling a record of 225 wins in an amateur career, 16 losses. What a record for an amateur fighter. Really did good in the amateurs, ladies and gentlemen. I think he was supposed to compete in the semifinals against a Cuban. And I think Forrest, based on what I read, he pulled out because he got ill or something like that, and he was not able to compete. But eventually turned pro, as we all know, and tremendous fights with Shane Mosley, defeated Shane Mosley when Shane Mosley was undefeated. Shane Mosley was 38-0 in that fight, coming into the first fight. And man, Shane couldn't do anything with that nice long jab, piston 1-2 right hand, and just dropping Shane and just outboxing him, getting the better of everything, and just outclassing Shane, basically. They fought twice. The second fight was a bit more competitive, but Vernon Forrest had his number. Vernon Forrest even defeated Shane Mosley back in the amateur. So, a fighter either has your number or they don't. Sometimes fighters avenge their amateur losses in pros. Some can't. Some do. And Shane was one of those that couldn't. He also defeated Ike Quartey, tremendous fighter. Also former 2-time world champion. And he also defeated Sergio Mora and Carlos Baldomir. Those guys are tremendous fighters. So, besides those names that I mentioned that Vernon Forrest fought, as we all know, he fought Vernon Forrest, you can never get those 2 losses to Ricardo Mayorga, man. Ricardo Mayorga shocked the boxing world, stunning and stopping Vernon Forrest in 3 rounds, man. No one heard really of Ricardo Mayorga. Ricardo Mayorga was an unknown fighter under the radar, and those are dangerous fighters. Ricardo Mayorga was hungry, coming from nothing, from Nicaragua, you know, lighting a cigarette, all that stuff. So he was hungry. He wanted what Forrest had. You know, Forrest at the time, when they fought, Forrest was one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, and undefeated, if I'm not mistaken, with unified titles coming in, with the unified ring like with welterweight titles coming into that fight. And who the hell was Mayorga? Well, Mayorga showed everyone who the hell he was, and that's by stopping Forrest in 3 rounds and causing a massive upset, and taking the ring titles, welterweight titles, becoming world champion, unified champion. Lighting a cigarette in the post-fight interview with all the straps around his shoulders. Crazy stuff. And then the rematch happened. It was a competitive fight. Forrest lost by majority decision. And Forrest was never able to defeat Mayorga. Like I said, fighters have your number. Mayorga had Forrest's number. Forrest ended up continuing to fight until 2008, 2009, winning world titles even up to that point, even past his prime. And unfortunately, he got killed in a gas station. I don't know if he got shot to death or beat to death, but they killed him. Unfortunately, in 2009, and passed away at the age of 38. But his legacy will never be forgotten. As we all know now, he's now in the Hall of Fame. So Vernon Forrest, well-deservedly, is now etched in boxing history as a Hall of Famer. Like I said, 4-time world champion, 2-division champion, former WBC, IBF, Ring Magazine, and linear welterweight champion. One of the best to do it, you know. And to be in the Hall of Fame, you gotta be one of the best to do it. You know, the boxing is not just gonna put any fighter in the Hall of Fame. You gotta earn that shit. And Triple G and Vernon Forrest earned that shit, and that's what they're getting in. So congratulations to 2 great fighters. It's unfortunate that Vernon Forrest won't be there to collect his plaque and flowers and recognition, but I know someone in his family, a sibling or whatever, is gonna come in on his behalf and collect the gifts and the accomplishments and the awards, whatever they give out there at the Hall of Fame. So yeah, just want to come out here and sit and talk about this, man. It's well deservedly. It needs to be spoken of. Two guys that put it all on the line for us throughout their career, and now they're etched in history in boxing. Miracle Boy Boxing, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Jose Cruz. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. And it is always a pleasure to talk to you guys about boxing. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Peace.